okay, cool. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's all going to be fine. It's
like,
going to be fine.
It's good. Mm-hmm.
Be a real estate agent. Honestly, when people are like, oh, I want to get into real estate, I'm like, good luck.
And I think people should be more honest about it.
Yeah, I agree.
I think we'll just start the recruiting here because I think it's a good conversation. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot to it. One of my cousins asked me, before I had hired anybody, she's like, hey, if I get my license, and she's in Casper, she said, could I be, would you consider? I was like, absolutely. That would be cool. Yeah, because she's family. Grandpa Harry and everything. And,
That's awesome.
And then she was a single mom. Mm-hmm. And she's like, yeah, well, I think I'll take the test and everything, then I'll quit my job. And I'm like, no. She's like, what? Yeah. I was like, no, you cannot quit your job.
It does not just start. Like that.
Yeah. I said, I'm sorry. I said, I won't hire you if you do that. I said, it is too hard. Mm-hmm. And just to get things going and to then build a reputation and a book of business and all the things. And everybody just thinks, oh yeah, let's do real estate.
Yeah.
And I don't think people are as honest with people starting because they just see another agent.
Yeah. Well, and I started on a team for that reason because I had moved here. I didn't have like a sphere here. I didn't, I had neighbors, whatever, but even your family and friends, how often are they buying and selling a home? Mm-hmm. So there's that. But, and everybody also knows another real estate agent. So just because you're friends with them, just because you help them or give them advice or whatever, does not mean that they're going to list with you or that they're going to buy with you because they might have gone to this other open house and saw this other, they don't always realize that is, some people don't want to work with you because you are family or friends, and they don't want to tell you their money business. I get it. That's a whole other thing. So anyways, I started with a team to start getting leads because that was part of their thing is that they generate leads. And then, but even that, that's 3 months, at least before you get a deal. So what are you doing for those 3 months? And then sometimes it's,
Well, and there's so many different things. If you really look at it from start to finish, even once you get the contract, until it closes, your commission, your income is not in your control.
No.
There are so many things along the way that are out of your control.
Or
say they go buy new furniture the day before closing. Now all of a sudden they can't close because they wrecked the credit. Or the inspections come back.
Or somebody gets fired. Somebody dies. That's happened.
Yes, I've had that
about to close, and it's like, oh, he passed away. No, we can't. Now they're not buying because that was their. That it just happens.
I had one where they passed away and they didn't have a will, so there was nothing. Everything had to go into probate.
Yep. And then that's going to sell for a while, 6 more months, whatever.
So and that's all of that stuff.
And in the meantime, you are having to work without getting paid. Yes, you get paid on the other end, but you're still driving and showing those houses to people who don't always end up buying.
Yeah.
Or end up moving here. Maybe then they changed their mind and went to Gillette or something. It is.
And it's just so much out of your control. And I don't think people are, upfront about that for new people when they're getting started. And it's just, my dad told me, he was like, oh yeah, I moved back to Douglas in '84 in the middle of the oil crash and the bust. And he said, and I sold a house in my first 2 weeks. He said, I didn't sell another house for 6 months. He said, we lived on credit cards. And I literally did the exact same thing. I sold one within 2 weeks, and it was 6 months again before I sold something else. So it's entirely different lifestyle.
And how much you still have to put out in the meantime, because it's that pipeline you got to keep you can't just stop because, now I got a deal. going or whatever. But then you got to still keep nurturing or, advertising, all this other stuff that you've got to do in the meantime, so that hopefully the idea is that then you don't.
Yeah, once that one closes, there's still something else going.
Coming.
Yep.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I thought, look at the commission that I paid when I sold or bought my house, and look at that, that's a good income. But even though I had done the deals on the other side and I know how much real estate agents do, there's a lot more that you don't realize. And then that goes into things that aren't part of the deal. It's just more being the real estate agent, the advertising, the showing houses that you don't see, the open houses,
For your printer, monthly fees for the MLS.
Your website, your all of that, because you got to have it in case you need it, but it's not always being used. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you've got 2 listings, but you only bought 2 signs. So you've got to go buy another sign. And you got to hurry so that way you've got it.
Right.
So it's ready for when the listing goes live. So, it just it's a rolling thing that just keeps going. That people, I don't think they talk about enough when hiring agents.
When telling.
Or just in general.
Yeah.
You see the posts about it, but usually it's
other agents that we're all talking about it ourselves.
Yeah, we're all saying, I get what you're going through.
I didn't realize, this is what it is.
But and it's just something, it takes a while to get started. You've got to keep it going. And then if you stop, then all of a sudden that deal closes, but you haven't been doing anything else or working on anything else, then now what are you? You're starting over from scratch. You got to keep going and going and going.
Yeah.
It's
definitely different. And I think that that's smart to let people know when they're getting into it. Or, so ask people, I think any kind of job, because the same thing goes for like my husband's a welder in the oil field, and they think like, oh, you make so much money. Well, you don't realize how much we pay in insurance, how much the truck costs, how much, all this other stuff. You don't realize all the overhead. You don't realize that, but I am working, and when I'm working a lot, and then there's a lot of downtime. And so it's the same kind of like boom bust or ebb and flow, like, yep, we got paid a lot right now, but we got to make it last, just all sorts of different things. Or you have to travel with the oil field, or depending on, he's in the construction part, so it's you have to think about all of those. And so people would talk to him about getting into the business, and he's like, okay, he'd lay it all out, because he didn't, we found it out the hard way, because you just have stars in your eyes and like, oh yeah, this is what we're gonna do.
Well, and when I started, it was, it really wasn't much of a discussion. It was here's your deal. The office gets 50%. You do your sales, the office, the broker gets 50%. And I think that was just fairly standard for a very, very long time. And I had, after my mom passed, then it was just me and my dad, but he didn't really come to the office anymore, which don't fault him for it. He had earned it. He didn't want to come to, that's fine. He was always a phone call away. I saw him every day anyway for other stuff, but 50% of everything I made was still going to him to support him, to help him. And so that was one of the big things when I looked at bringing agents on. I was like, that was hard. It was really hard. It worked, and I'm not complaining, but it was difficult. So I don't want new people or agents to start. There's so, like you said, you could be great for 3 months, and you could be dead for 2. So how can I help ease that a little bit? Well, by paying a higher percentage to the agents, just so that way they can support their families.
Well, that's the other thing. So I didn't realize, and even that we are self-employed, so my husband's always been self-employed, so we know that, like, okay, big chunk of that still goes to the IRS, so you got to put that aside, right? And sure, you get write-offs, but like, that's a whole other thing. I actually hate being self-employed, and both of us are. I hate the paperwork. I hate that. But that's things, and people don't tell them like, oh, you need to keep track of your mileage and your receipts streets, and these are the things that you can write off. Like, especially like if you're just starting out, like these young kids are, even if you're not, if you have no experience with being self-employed, sometimes it's a year later and your tax person's like, okay, well, what about this? What?
Yeah.
What? And you didn't put that aside. So you split it with your broker or your team, and then you split it again with the IRS, and it like, well, guess what? I'm just learning fractions, cutting my piece of the pie even smaller, you know, and you don't realize that. And so you have to know. And then there's so many dues and so many things that we've talked about. Like there's this due, and then this is every month, and then your monthly, you know, like everything.
Oh yeah. Oh, your license is good for 3 years.
Yeah.
Oh, but you got to pay your membership and your dues for your board and for the NAR every year, right after Christmas.
Yeah. Yep. And every month.
Yeah.
And, you know.
And your E&O insurance and
your
all of that
insurance,
stuff too.
yeah.
Yeah. It's one of those, it's like the first time I had somebody else do my taxes. And they're like, what'd you do for mileage? I was like, huh? What?
I will be figuring that out.
I didn't even.
I know you don't think about it. And it's so stupid. There's apps. But then you have to pay for those apps.
But then you flip the side. I mean, it is so much fun. I really do have fun. I love helping somebody buy their first home.
Me too.
Those are a favorite. Or the dream home, you know. They see one that they want, and it's like, okay, now how do we make it happen? And all the steps that you can do to do that.
Yeah.
And that's the cool thing.
Yeah.
Getting to help people and help those families with finding a home or buying
making
a business.
a transition or whatever it is. Yeah. It's just,
those are so rewarding. So, I mean, it makes up for it.
it does.
But I just think that the back end just is
Being
not.
the realistic.
Yeah. You got to be more realistic with people when, oh yeah, get your license.
Yep. Yep.
It's just a different way.
Just something to know about. You know, if you're thinking about being an agent, then talk to agents and see how it's like, and
go from there and make your own decision. Like you just when you're buying the
buyers
house.
and sellers.
Yep. Here's all the information. Which options,
Work
which way
best for you.
fit you best. Yep.
Yeah.
It's not mine, it's yours. It's not my toy.
I was going, so for the home maintenance tip this week, hold on, let me look back at it. Every time I get blank. But you know how since it's cold, and I was just noticing at my mom's house, she has an Airbnb in Casper, and you can use this cold as a way to tell where your insulation needs. So like her house was all warm, and then the garage is cold, and that's where, you know, you could tell where the frost was still.
Okay.
And so you can use the cold time to pay attention to, do you have heat escaping or a cold spot that like maybe we need some more insulation on this part of the house or something like that.
Well, you can look at the roof too and see if it's melting.
That's what I meant.
Yep.
Yeah.
If it's melting in certain spots or staying and all that type of stuff.
Yeah. So use this time that it is cold to pay attention to that, and check in your attic and make sure that no moisture is coming through or anything like that.
Yeah. It's definitely a good time to crawl up in your attic and just snoop around.
Just look around. Yeah.
Just to kind of take an overall view. Is everything working right? Are there spots that need repair or fix?
Yeah, because we don't always have a ton of, rain or whatever. So when we do have, just use them to check things out.
Well, that's, somebody was talking, but yeah, if you've got like a leaky storm window or a recess window. Well, you don't know until it's going to rain.
Yep.
And if you're not far between
or
there.
if you're, yeah.
So when it does, go check.
When there is cold, check it out.
Nice.
That's my little thought.
And how was your weekend?
Weekend was good. Wrestling.
It's that time of the year.
Yep. So.
That'll keep you busy.
Yep. How about you?
Just caught up on work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just was trying to do the market updates, and then now if you haven't, you can subscribe and follow us on Apple, Spotify, all those types of podcasts. If you don't want to watch, you can listen.
Yeah.
So, first, did I tell you for some reason they shut it down?
No.
They shut it off. Just
really?
canceled it. I couldn't log in, anything. It was just gone.
Weird.
And it's a free subscription for the service that I'm using. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And so I had to contact them and try and troubleshoot it and figure it out. And basically they had canceled it because they thought our podcast was spam. Fake.
Rude.
Yeah. Fake. And
Why? What do we?
I had to provide proof. So I was like, here's a link to the YouTube videos. I mean, because it's just an audio of the video.
The video.
So here's the da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And then like 4 hours later, you're good. Everything's logged back on, or turned back on. And I was like, what?
What would give them that? Like,
I don't have a clue.
AI
But I was like,
decided.
yeah, I didn't have anything else to try to do today. It's like, because I did. I just went to log to
just trying
upload
to
and it was
put
just
it in
gone.
there.
I couldn't log in.
So strange.
And they're like, yeah, we canceled you because we thought it was spam. I was like,
Well, thanks.
appreciate it. Thanks.
Oh, the other thing that you know how we were talking last week about the tax credit
Yes.
and stuff? Well, I was showing houses again, and they're from out of state, and they were saying, well, what's the taxes? And that just is a good reminder when you are looking at what the sales tax are, you don't know whether that person, because it tells you what their last sales tax were.
With their title, yep.
But you don't know whether that person was over 65 and gets that credit. You don't know whether they're a veteran and gets that credit. Anyway, so that's why I had to give that disclaimer. And I'm like, that's a good
Yeah, and that was,
thing to do.
I can't remember, it was one of the recent closings at the title office. And they said, yeah, they're having questions.
Because now
come
we
up.
have more and more. I mean, it used to just be the veteran or, but now we have these other ones. We need to be aware of that.
And the title agent was saying, yeah, she's like,
This is not going to be yours.
This is not what it was. This is, yeah, it's different. And so there was that discrepancy versus the information that had been given prior to closing versus what was actually now at the closing table because somebody had qualified for the credit. So it's definitely something we got to watch out
You
for.
just got to pay attention. So.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the year-end real estate.
Yeah.
So last year in 2025 we sold 6 less than in 2024. Now that 2025 is over,
Okay. So
we checked that out. In Converse County, 6
less
less.
homes over the course of the year.
Yep. So there was 190 in 25 and then 196 sold in, so that's pretty close.
Yeah.
And then the median price went up 11%.
Wow. 11%? Yeah. And see, and I get that question too when working with a buyer. And they say, well, what do you think about the price? Or what do you think about, when they're asking for some advice on to make an offer? Statistically, if you go off of the numbers, statistically, everything usually sells within 3% of the list price in Converse County.
Yep.
And then historically, it used to be historically, it always went up an average of 6%.
I was going to say, I think the average was 7%.
Yep.
So I think just the median house prices went up. Yeah.
But yeah, so you're still getting that appreciation year over year. So, but yeah, I'm not surprised the median has gone higher.
Yeah.
Just as you look at prices and you see the homes coming on. But
yeah.
And then I had somebody at a recent showing, well, everything's going to crash.
I don't know.
And, everything's going to crash. The housing market's going to crash. The prices are come down. Da, 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 da. And he wasn't even in real estate. And he wasn't even the buyer. He was just there looking. And I was like...
Well, I think that's really interesting too because how much have we heard that since like 2020? Like I'll just wait until
Yeah.
the interest rates come down or blah blah blah. And then you see calculations
Hmm.
of what the house was even with the higher interest rate. And then, because I mean, anyways, and then now what the house is with a little bit lower interest rate, because we're not back to 2%,
Yeah.
and I don't, we'll probably never be, but that's just my opinion. And you're still losing money
Yeah.
because the house is so much more. The houses keep appreciating in the interest rate. And I think that we're going to see that year over year. My husband was listening to some investment and he's like, can you believe this? A house that you bought in whatever was 79,000, now it's 300. And I'm like, yes. Since we went off the gold standard, houses, I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe average house prices have doubled every 10 years. It's the only thing that like stays with inflation.
Well, and I believe it. And I mean, I had a little house here on Fifth Street that, I mean, we loved, but we just kind of outgrew. And I sold it in 14. And then that seller, the person that bought it, hired me to sell it for him. And it was in 23, so 9 years later. And it was a $80,000 difference.
Crazy.
And when I walked in, it was the same home. Nothing had changed from when I left.
That's so nuts.
They hadn't,
Yeah.
they hadn't replaced anything. They just lived
Remodeled,
there and took care of it. He took amazing care of it, but he hadn't added anything, and it still appreciated that much. And I was like, oh, that sucks.
Yeah. But you can't live there forever. You can't, know.
Yep. So, but yeah, it's a.
And it's crazy if you look back through the history that it didn't do that before we went off the gold standard.
That's weird. Well, and I just saw gold hit $5,000 an ounce for the first time.
I know, it's so crazy.
And then,
Because for the longest time, it was like, gold.
And then Wyoming spent some like multiple millions of dollars buying gold.
Oh, okay. To
Recently.
invest in gold.
To invest in gold and stuck it in a safe somewhere in the state. I remember I saw an article and I was like, oh, so
That's
I
interesting.
yeah. So I don't know. It's just, well, the prices are going to come down. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I mean, if the interest rates come down, that means more buyers can afford them.
Right.
And there's still only so many on the market.
Yeah.
So supply and demand.
Yeah. No matter which way you go.
Which way you go. There's less available, still then
Yeah.
the people are still paying it. So
Yeah. And I still think that it's a better value like in certain circumstances, but it's a better value to buy than to rent.
yeah. Yeah.
In certain circumstances, I get the reasons for renting, but
We'll
just
see.
our opinions.
We'll see what happens. If you'd like information on selling yours, make sure you
Yeah.
click the link or drop a comment. We'd be happy to talk to you.
Thanks. Okay.
Sure.